And welcome to part 2 of Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle 4. And here we are taking on the underground section, trying to progress further into the castle. And right here there are going to be a lot more straightforward levels. They are obviously getting a lot bigger since we are moving closer or further along in the game. And right here you get your first instance of the shield. And it works the same as all the other games, and you just get protected from enemies, but you can't hurt them. And there's our first instance with the gun. You can, as I mentioned before, you can switch between the gun and the balloon bomb. It's pretty easy to do just with the A button and then B to shoot. And what I did want to talk about in this episode is one thing that one Let's Player that I'm particularly a fan of, Around the Wheel, brought up. And that's that depending on what game you Let's Play, you also have an, I guess depending on what your fan base is, you kind of have an effect as to how other people will see this game and how it gets perceived in the future. And he mentioned this during Bugs Bunny's Birthday Blowout, which is a game that was infamously covered by one angry video game nerd. And he admits himself it really wasn't even that bad of a game. I mean, there were just some things about it that just made it seem a little bit more boring. But I mean, it still was a decent game, and I mean, I've played it plenty of times, and I actually do enjoy that game. And what Round the Wheel did mention is that depending on how you act, like when you play the game and how you feel about the game, it does kind of have an effect on what other people think of the game too. And depending on what your fan base is, obviously the more fans you have, the more people you affect, so the more a game gets affected by it. And that is one thing I have been trying to do with the particular games that I picked, is that I am trying to do these games some justice. I mean, these obviously aren't the most well-known games. Like, I'm not playing Zelda: A Link to the Past, I'm not playing Super Mario World, I'm not playing any of those games. But I am playing games that very few other people do, and one thing I am trying to do is do these games some justice and make sure that, you know, other people like you guys see them as pretty solid games, and maybe, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out where I'm going with this. I mean, so that you guys can see them as pretty decent games, pretty fun games, and maybe inspire others. That's, I guess, something I'm going for. Also, the Daffies are much more as predictable as they were in the third one. So they'll just chase it directly. I mean, no matter where you are, they'll follow you. So that is something you have to be aware of as the game goes on. But getting back to my point earlier, I was trying to show this off, which is the first instance of a fake treasure chest. And there are going to be plenty of more of those down the road. And yay for pointless invincibility that I can't use. But the fake treasure chests are pretty easy to sniff out. All you have to do is just wait them out, and when you see them moving, that's when you know that one's rigged. And then to get away from it, you just have to hold the opposite direction whenever you open it. And because if you do stand still, then it's going to end up hurting you and just taking away one heart. But getting back to what I said earlier, how you play a game and how you perceive a game will kind of affect how other people perceive it. And what I'm trying to do with these games is just do them justice so that, you know, maybe you guys might give them a shot at some point. I mean, I'm not trying to create a, I don't know what that is, a cult following or anything. I'm just trying to show off some games that I enjoy that a lot of other people may not have played. Or a lot of other people may not even heard of. And I totally did this backwards. I was supposed to shoot Daffy and save that snail shell for Elmer Fudd. But moving along, in the second stage, it is pretty easy to get lost because this is when the stages start getting a lot bigger and you had to use those mushroom trampolines. in order to progress and in order to get to the doors. Because, just like the second one, most of the keys are going to be hidden in places that are going to be a little bit tougher to find, or a little bit tougher to come across. And, all I'm trying to do here is just run away from this Daffy. Really don't feel like using a gun on him. But if I have to, I have to. Or just get ambushed by another one of those two. Yeah, see, that's one thing that, is gonna bother me a lot during this game, is that I'm gonna end up getting ambushed by enemies like crazy. Mainly because it is tough to see them coming, and this isn't like the third one where you can, you're at least fast enough that you can get away from everything, and it's not like the third one where you can use the, pause function and look at the map. And I almost got ambushed again. And look at the map to see where all the enemies are. Because in this game, if you use the pause function, you can still look around the level, but you can't see where all the enemies are, and I don't know, I think maybe they thought that the game was a little too easy because of it. But the thing is, with this game, they don't really give out lives as regularly as they did in Crazy Castle 3. I know in the third one, they gave away lives like free candy, and I think I was up to 90 odd lives at the end of that game, even though I was dying a lot. And there's another rigged treasure chest on the left. And right now it's gonna be just one of the two. And one of them might be rigged, one of them might not be, but other times you're gonna come across ones where they give you a different weapon, like one treasure chest would contain a gun, the other one would contain a balloon power-up, and then the other one would fade once you choose one. And then there are others where one treasure chest would contain a small carrot, and then the other one would contain a big carrot, with the big carrot being worth 3 small ones, as you know. And, I am actually going to save that door on the bottom left for last, because, that's where the last key would be. So all I'm trying to do is just, scramble and get to everything. And now that I've got a pickaxe, it's, much easier to go across everything, and I can also get to those doors on the bottom left. And get ambushed by another Daffy. So you know what, I'm sick of him, let's just get rid of him. That's just the easy way to do things in this game. But either way, all I'm trying to do is just sweep up the area. I mean, right now, since I took care of all the Daffies, I don't think there's going to be any other immediate threats. I could be wrong. But we'll just have to see. And really, yeah, just like before, all I'm trying to do is just clean up the area, and one thing with this game is that the levels are going to be really big, so as you've noticed in the first part, like every level takes about 4 or 5 minutes, so it is important that you do look around every part of the level. And that is something I am going to touch on a little bit later as the game goes on. I mean, I don't really have a problem with how big the levels are, but I mean, I'll just get more into it when I get to the later levels. Now with that, let's just go to the exit and finish 2-2. So here in 2-3, there are going to be, the ghosts are going to be back, as well as more Daffies and more Elmer Fuds. And those are really the enemies you do have to worry about in this stage. I think there might be a leprechaun in here somewhere, but I'm not really keeping track. And, one important thing you do have to deal with in this game is that, I mean, the password function is still there, so just in case you do end up, or this game does wear on you, it is important that you do have respectable intervals in this game, because if you do end up trying to take it all out, because this is not one game you can take out in one, go. It is one game just like all the other ones that you have to get better at with practice. And my goodness, what have they done with Witch Hazel? She was the villain in the second one, and now look at her. That sound you hear is me shaking my head. But anyway, I missed out on a gun, so now I get a balloon bomb instead. Yeah, so what I'm trying to do here is just, there's a lot of pipes that you do have to use, and here I'm gonna get ambushed, or not. I think right here what I'm trying to do is just focus on Daffy and just take him out. So I think I'm just trying to run away from him. Yeah, you know, I don't really know where I'm going with this anymore. What is difficult to commentate over this is why I said I needed a lot of stuff to talk about during the games, because, I mean, this really is a fun game. I kinda was a little bit too hard on this at first. It is still a decent game to play. There are just some things about it that kinda make the game drag on, and I'll touch more on it when I get to the later levels. But yeah, commentating over this is going to be a little tough, especially given that there are going to be quite a few parts, maybe 16 or so. Right there, I almost run into another rigged treasure chest. But either way, what I'm going to need to talk about is, actually there were some questions brought up in the comments as to how I got into the series in the first place, and the way I did was, I got to borrow a bunch of my cousin's old Game Boy games, and one of them that he had was the original Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle for Game Boy, which obviously wasn't the NES version. I mean, I did play the NES version before then, and I did enjoy it, so I ended up playing that one a lot. And then when Nintendo decided to re-release the second game as part of the Player's Choice Collection, I ended up getting that game. And that was one game I actually played the most, even though I actually never beat it legitimately until this Let's Play, or this recent Let's Play. And as I've stated before in Crazy Castle 3, my nostalgia for the Bugs Bunny Crazy Castle series ended with the second one. And the third one, I mean, I did enjoy it. I mean, there were just some things about it that were kind of missing, and, you know, that's kind of how it is when you're kids. I mean, you don't really question these things. And, you do kind of like everything as you see it. And then, I think what was also mentioned in, Round the Wheels Let's Play of Bugs Bunny's Birthday Blowout was that, pretty much whatever you were given, either by your parents, or by friends, or by family, or by other extended family, that was pretty much what you had to work with. And you do end up sometimes growing, I guess, an affinity for those games, and you know, that's just kind of how your childhood gets shaped. And also, whenever you see whenever you collect a treasure chest and the other one's still standing there, chances are that one's rigged. So that's just something you have to know as the game goes on. And right now I'm just waiting for this witch to come across just so I can take her out. But let's see, let's just wait for her and then take her out. That's pretty easy to do. But as I've been doing recently, I've actually been trying to, I guess, join up with more communities of Let's Players. I've already been a member of Brightwheel for a while, and they were very encouraging when I told them about my plans to start Let's Playing. And they've been fairly supportive over it. And recently I've joined up with a faction of players. I mean, I've joined those forums. And a lot of really good Let's Players in that group too. And what they do offer is that they do offer plenty of diverse, I guess, not only diverse points of views, but also a diverse array of games. So it is important that, well, I mean, one thing I did learn by just seeing all these different Let's Players and all these different Let's Plays is just how their Let's Playing kind of fits their personality, whether or not you can be completely over the top, or I guess textbook informative like I am. And also it's I guess like a different point of view on how you play a game, as well as a different point of view on how you beat a game. I mean, that's one thing I always enjoyed about playing certain RPGs, especially like popular games like Chrono Trigger, is that you kind of develop your own strategies as you go on, and then when you watch somebody else play it, and sometimes you think, well, hey, that was a pretty interesting thing that they did, I think I'm gonna try doing that from now on. And sometimes you think your strategy is better and you stick with it. I mean, either way, you still end up learning something new. And that's something I've grown to appreciate with the whole Let's Play thing. Is just how to, I guess, take different points of views as well as different kinds of styles, and then try and, I guess, put them together to form your own opinion about everything, as well as form your own style about Let's Playing. Or your own style when it comes to Let's Playing. And see, I think I pretty much wiped out all the other enemies here. I'm just trying to figure out where the hell I'm going. And after I end up falling, I end up getting another key, which I'm going to need. And right here I'm just trying to find a pickaxe and end up getting ambushed by another Daffy. Unfortunately, this game does have a health bar. I mean, I know I did bash the health bar earlier, but I take that all back now. I mean, if not for the health bar, I'd probably be getting killed left and right in this game. And, as I've said before, this game isn't really that generous with giving you extra lives. And, Crazy Castle 3 really was. But they were also pretty generous in taking them away. But I guess with the fourth one, because the levels are so big, if you had to start over every time you end up getting hit, then that would really cause a lot of trouble with prospective players. I mean, at least in Crazy Castle 2, yeah, the levels were big, but there were so few of them. And there were like set patterns to those certain characters, and not like some of them were completely unpredictable like Daffy is. I mean, Daffy just follows you wherever you are. But either way, all I'm trying to do here is just bypass more leprechauns and then get to the rest of the keys. See, I don't think this is where the last one is. Nope, turned out this is a double. Where I need to go for the last one, I think I need to take that pipe down, and then actually head over to the right. And this is gonna take a while. And that's one thing I did notice with these, or with this particular game, is that you do end up going a lot slower. Up and down pipes, and then up and down doors. And, that's depending on how you feel about it, because in Crazy Castle 3, I know, like, yeah, you went really fast and everything, but it also meant that the controls were pretty slippery, and you'd actually end up overshooting a lot of things when you didn't really mean to. And then in this game, the controls are pretty good, and the game's kinda slow, but also, you know, at least whenever you end up getting killed, it more or less feels like it was your own fault instead of you getting ambushed by something unfair, which I guess does happen a lot to other Bugs Bunny players, especially in the second one. I mean, that would happen a lot. Anyway, here's where the last keys should be. So now that we got that, yeah, no real point in seeing me walk through all this stuff again, so might as well speed it up. And here we are with the last stage for today. And right here it starts out pretty straightforward. You have a bunch of doors, you have pretty good weapons to work with. And you do have to take that pipes and you don't get a pickaxe early enough. And I missed out on a gun. Oh, that's unfortunate. But instead what's gonna happen is they do give you plenty of doors. The thing you do have to be aware of is just the enemies that could pop up from you. And the biggest issue you are gonna have with this game is that getting ambushed by enemies, and also getting hit by treasure chests. That could also be an issue. And I mean, with the pipes, it's pretty straightforward, even though some of them really veer off into nowhere, like that one, and I end up getting ambushed. Here I think I'm gonna get killed, but fortunately I don't. And I have no idea what that ghost is doing. He somehow spawned in the middle of that ledge, which I have no idea how he did. Instead, I need to take that pipe up. Instead, I can't really go for that one now because of that ghost. Alright, well, at least I got a 1-up. I mean, they do give you 1-ups, but it is kind of sporadic. I mean, I know you can't collect 1-ups other than those power-ups, and that's actually going to be invincibility. So do use that to your advantage. Unlike me. So, yeah, all I'm trying to do here is just sweep up this right side. Which is what I am trying to do. I mean, you do have to go right, then left. And then, for some reason, my shield vanished even though the music's still playing. Not really sure how that happened. But what is important is that you do end up using your weapons to your advantage, which I clearly did not. But either way, what I'm trying to do is just wait for some enemies. Instead, I end up getting impatient. And let's see, right here should be the 4th key. And now watch this, this is where I end up getting into trouble. And right here I'm just trying to shoot him. And that, for some reason, didn't happen. Not really sure what went wrong there. But in that case, I was ready for Daffy. And I guess the health bar, and like I've said before, the health bar is a good thing in this game because if I had to start over every time I got hit, that would obviously drive me mad, and I'm sure that would drive just about every other person who played this game mad. I mean, that was one of the reasons why Crazy Castle 2 kind of got the bad rap that it did, was mainly because of that difficulty spike, and also because how big the levels were, and the fact that you had to start over every time you died ended up becoming a real big issue. So all I'm trying to do here is just clean up the rest of that left side. You have to go right and then left and then all the way over to the middle in order to finish the stage. And here I am going the wrong way. So back down, there you go. All I'm trying to do is just make sure Daffy doesn't bother me. So instead I'm just going to lay a trap for him. And that clearly did not go the way I wanted it to, but fortunately you can walk back over to your trap and collect it. So you can just reset it in a different area. I also like that animation of Daffy sitting down on the ladder. I don't really know why that entertains me, but it does. Either way, we are done with this stage. All I have to do is take this really, really long moving pipe and go over to this door, and that should be where the last key is. So what I should do is just drop down. But yeah, if you do have any thoughts on anything that I've discussed today, or I guess other Let's Plays, feel free to comment as usual. But with that, we are done with World 2. So join me next time as I take on World 3. See you then.